Tsaka yung kanilang mga building structure dito. Ayaw ma-amaze ka sa itsura nila eh. Look at this guys. Hindi ko alam anong klaseng building ito eh. Ang dami ng tram nila. Ano eh? Iisang dinadaanan ng kotse at ng tram. Siguro kung ako magdadrive dito malilito ako. Kasi left hand drive dito, hindi katulad sa UK right hand. Tatanong yung asawa ko, baka daw may jaywalking.
Ba, mahirap na baka ma-jaywalking pa ako dito.
Meron kasing nakaset up na tour ngayong 2 o'clock. It's past 1 o'clock na. Pupuntahan namin yung meeting place para makasama kami doon sa tour. Ganda oh. Sana eto na nga yung Charles Bridge. May mga turista oh, nagpapalipas lang ng oras dito. Really nice guys, look behind me yung bridge. Ewan ko, ito na nga yung Charles Bridge na hinahanap natin para mag-meet up kami nung mga magtutur. Pag inabot natin, di swerte. Pag hindi na tayo tutuloy sa tour. Tingnan nyo guys ang mga turista. Ito ang famous na Charles Bridge. Sa kabila niyan tatawirin natin. Ngayon na natin tatawirin o mamaya pa? Ngayon na. Grabe oh. Tingnan mo guys oh. Maraming turista. Sama naman ako daan. Ganda ng lugar oh.
Hindi naman ako ha.
Kuha ka niyan.
Hindi ako ha.
Dun, kuha ka ni. Diyan lang sa screen hindi ka kuha pero kuha ka niyan. Kasi malinaw. Malawak yan.
Nakatingin naman ako sa screen.
Ha?
Nakatingin ako sa screen.
Actually yung anak kong panganay siya nag-recommend na pasyalan namin tong lugar na to. Wow, really nice. Masyadong bilisan ang paglakad.
Baka may wahan tayo ng bus.
Ha?
Baka may wahan tayo ng bus.
Bus ba yun?
Hindi.
Kala ko ano yun, lakad yun.
Oo, lakad lang yan.
Walang problema.
Magpag-ano ka niya, caricature.
Saan tayo pupunta ngayon pagka?
Mamaya pagkatapos sila.
Super init. Grabe ang init. Kaya hinubad ko na yung jacket. Street performer din no. O kaya ito. Habang turutot naman nun. Buti walang dumadaan sa sasakyan dito no. O hindi talaga allowed na daanan na sasakyan to.
Allowed. Ano na tayo?
Today is Tuesday. Siguro lalo na pag weekend ano eh. Pag weekend siguro lalo nang maraming tao dito. Wow.
Tara, pantali. Ayun eh, yung sinasabi sa'yo.
Ano? Sa akin yan.
Nahabol sila ng bubuyog, gawan pagkain.
Pro každýho, jak si to vtáhne.
Grabe ang tao. Pag ganitong makikita mo, kahit pagod ka na, maglalakad ka pa.
Maganda kasi.
Mawawala ang pagod mo, tapos mamaya kakain ka ulit. Yun ang maganda ron. Sawa ko kanina pa nag-google, oh. Google Map nang ginagamit, hindi pa makita. Ano, ilang minutes na lang?
3 daw eh.
O 3 minutes. Kanina pa namin hinahanap yung aming hinahanap ay hindi makita. Maiiwanan na kami ng tour. Ito ang meeting place. Wala naman kaming makita rito. Kainaman. Ang layo ng nilakad natin. Wala naman dito yung magpapatur. Ito na yung may patur. Ang sabi nila umbrella na green at saka white. Siya siguro yun. Pero hindi natin alam kung ilan yung kasama sa tour. So magantay na lang tayo. Alright, natuloy din ang tour. So eto na, ang dami namin. So ayan. Actually yung tour is walang bayad. Kaya lang, syempre, pampalubag loob.
Tayo dapat sa
Bigyan mo naman sila. Kahit konti lang para kasi hindi naman sila pinapasweldo ng gobyerno. So voluntary lang yung pagbibigay sa kanila.
In Cheshire, my daughter came here like a couple of months and she did recommend it.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Kinikilala niya yung isa yung kanyang mga turista.
Excellent. So welcome in, guys. We are now standing in front of the residence of the Czech president. Don't get too excited. It's no White House or any other fabulous house, but that there is the current president's residence, right? Every president that comes into the office will stay here officially. Our current president has taken power only in March of this year, which means he's still getting used to it. Up until then, he was a general, he was the leader of NATO for a long time, so he's adapting to having to be more careful. There's never been much security around the Czech president. They've always driven around with 2-3 cars in and out to the castle. Unlike the American president, which is the city's on lockdown, right? Here, it's not much security, but this one's taking a new step away from it. My friend, my colleague, was walking down the street one day, and then all of a sudden she looks like, and then he was like, "Yep, it's me." The president walked right past her, no security, nothing, just walked right past her.
Nakita mo yung sa may bridge.
Ano?
Yung iba ng kulay nung ano, parang ng tanso.
Oo, yung nahawakan.
Oo.
Tahimik dito sa lugar na to. Ano? Hindi masyadong daanan tao. Residential area ba to? Ang dami, oh. Ang ganda, ayun, ah. Dami. Dami, oh. Kanya lahat yan, oh. Lahat nasunod sa kanya, oh. Magbigay na lang yan ng tigpa 5 pounds. Ang dami yan.
Leicester Town Square, main square of the Leicester Town, main square of the Castle District. Now, beyond this, you'll see through the trees, you'll make out some gates. Those are the gates of the Prague Castle. Now, the square, also you'll notice big, nice houses and big palaces all the way around us. These here were only placed in the middle of the 16th century to early 17th century. What happened is this area was where all the servants were living. The servants that had easy access to the Prague Castle had small wooden houses. Mala Strana, Lesser Town, that sits below this hill where we took the tram from, burned down entirely in the middle of the 16th century. The fire came up onto the hill, burning down all the wooden houses, leaving the land bare and very cheap. So the aristocrats built up big palaces. You have the very nice Tuscan palace here. You have the Schwarzenberg's palace over there. Two Schwarzenberg's palace, the Archbishop's palace were all on the square because they could build up these big ones. Now, the Schwarzenberg's palace there is one of the most beautiful palaces in Prague. Shall we have a look? Yeah.
Building na to na, ang sabi niya rito.
Ito nga yung quarters natin na nasunog. Ito na yun ang para sa mga servant.
Servant lang.
What do you guys think? Not too bad, huh? Made it just for you guys. Now, quick look at what we're looking at here. This is the Schwarzenberg palace. The Schwarzenbergs, a big family of generals that were fighting for the Habsburgs. The Habsburgs, that big Austrian family, they ruled our lands. The lands are called the Bohemian lands. And the Prague Castle we're going to now is their secondary home. So the Schwarzenbergs had this palace, the palace next to it, to be able to look after the castle for the Schwarzenbergs. Now, this palace is fabulous, but the most important thing really is the architectural style. It's a late Renaissance style called sgraffito. Sgraffito is said to be by many as the predecessor to graffiti. Difference is, this is not painted, it's carved. Every single tiny inch of this was hand carved. Look, they put on the black plaster first. The black plaster dries, they cover it up with the white plaster. While the white is still wet, they scrape off the white to reveal the black. Now, with that being said, the black is revealed, which gives you these beautiful shapes. The envelope shape takes up the large majority of the building, but then look at the intricate details in all the upper levels. All hand carved. Shows you how much time people have in their hands without Facebook or internet or TV. There. Now, with that being said, there are mistakes. Because it's hand carved, it's not perfect. Most of the mistakes can be found with what I call the leaves. You see the envelope has on the right hand side 4 leaves on the top, 4 leaves on the bottom? Well, they're missing in some places. For example, the window right above this arch, see there's a thick beam about 2/3 of the way up. On the left of it, see the envelope is missing all, those envelopes are missing all of the leaves? Yeah? The window right here, the thick beam about 2/3 of the way up. Left side of it, see the envelope?
Yeah.
Nasaan?
Now, look at this.
Apat lahat
See the pillar that's coming towards us? They're all the same size. At the bottom, there's 3 leaves. 2, 2, 2. Above it gets a bit bigger. It goes up to 4 and 4. Now, there's one that's better than all of them, but you have to move to see that one. Come with me.
Someone was like, yeah, not my job. I'm talking. One of my jobs.
Have a look at this. See? 4 leaves. Somebody went for a beer and never came back. It just shows you the beauty. I find the beauty in the fact that it's hand carved. If it's all machine carved, it's easy, right? So this is something to show you the hand carved aspect.
Maganda rin sumama sa mga tour na ganito kasi marami kang naiintindihan. Marami kang nalalaman tungkol sa mga sinasabi ng anong tawag doon, tour guide.
Kung pag hindi ka na magbabasa.
Hindi lang basta manunood ka, marami siyang mai-explain sa iyo. Look at this, guys. Wow.
Sorry. Just so you guys are aware, there is a fabulous view here, but I know a better one. So we'll look at it from here, we'll go into the castle, and on the way out, we'll have the best view, and we'll actually be able to enjoy it because there'll be less people there. Sound good? Alright, for now, the gates to the castle. once you go beyond these gates, once you go beyond these soldiers, you will have entered into the largest castle complex in the entire world. Now, people often get confused by a castle, because when I say castle, they're picturing a cartoon of a castle. Big defensive walls, drawbridges, moats, a cartoon of a castle, right? Now, we had all of this when it was first founded. In the year 880, the first Czech dynasty placed a castle on this cliff edge on this hilltop, but it's a small little fortress. As every family came in, they upgraded, they made it bigger, they made it more beautiful, they modernized it. And then now it looks like this. The biggest changes were put in by Maria Theresa, a Habsburg empress from the 18th century. She noticed that all battles were being fought in fields far, far away. If an army were to successfully defeat their own armies in the field and come up to the gates of the castle, the war is over. The battle is over, they have cannons. No matter how big, no matter how thick, no matter how strong your wall is, they're gonna shoot through the wall. So for this reason, they put in a more comfortable living castle. What you have here is a Viennese-inspired building, reminding her of her home of Vienna. On the front, a flimsy gate with two big titans at the top of it to show you what we'll do to you if you enter the castle without our permission. Right? We're allowed to go in, it's okay, don't freak out. Now, with that being said, the castle itself, people then say, but how do you call it a castle if you don't have these mechanisms? Well, the definition of a castle is a fortified area where the leader of a country or an area will live and work out of. In our case, it is still fortified. We can only get in if they allow us in. But it is an ancient castle. Because the residence of the Czech president, you saw it just outside the castle, right? Because it's residence outside, it makes it an ancient castle. But still fortified, still a castle. Good? Now, the last guy to have lived here, right behind you. One of, if not one of, the most important Czech characters of all time. TGM. Tomáš Garrigue Masaryk. Masaryk not only fought the Habsburgs to create the first Czechoslovak Republic in 1918, but his presidency was viewed as one of the golden eras. We were one of the strongest economies in the world, and also we were a country that had a very progressive motion. Now, an example of this is the right to vote to women. Now, women were given the right to vote in Czechoslovakia in 1920, 2 years after the creation of the Republic, and it was under his presidency. He was involved in helping them get it. Now, that's not the first in the world. Number one in the world is New Zealand, 1893. Other countries around Europe started as far back as 1915. No, Sweden. Sorry, it's your enemy. 1913 in Norway. 1930. Oh, so yeah, you're quite. As I say, Norway's quite early. Finland, Sweden's quite early. Denmark is quite early as well, I believe. But by the end of the 1920s, all countries had it done. Right? Now, the reason I point this out is because often the Czech Republic is viewed as outdated because of our communist history, because of the Nazi occupation, and all these years before, leading up to it. Right? But the reality is, until the Nazis pulled the rug out from underneath the Czechs, we were one of the most progressive countries in a very different trajectory. Now, example of this. Would you call France a modern country? Relatively, right? Do you know when they gave the right to vote to women? 1945-46, just coming out of World War II. Right? Women in France were not allowed to possess their own bank accounts without men attached to it. A brother, a husband, a father, right? But that's a modern country. Now, let's talk about Switzerland. Does anybody know when the Swiss gave the right to vote to women?
1973.
71. Close. Very close. That's a good guess. Now, the last federal area of Switzerland, the last canton of Switzerland, pushed the full right to vote to women until 1995. During our lifetime, a lot of us were alive, women in Europe still do not have the full right to vote. But yet, they're the modern country? Now, the real estate is not to embarrass these countries. The real estate is I want to make the differentiation about what people view us as compared to what other countries are viewed as, right? Now, Tomáš Garrigue Masaryk is one of the most important Czech characters, and he did the final touches to the castle and put it on a very different trajectory before he died. Okay. Good? We got 15 minutes to change the guards. Do you want me to show you guys something fun before we get to changing the guards? Okay. Number one, on those front gates, there's nothing there except for being a greetings courtyard. When your world leader comes to visit us, they'll be greeted in that courtyard, right? Big change in the guards, which happens 12 o'clock every day, happens in that courtyard. Okay? Now, the courtyard number 2, slightly bigger than the current one, is just through these gates here. Beyond that, you have the cathedral, which is in courtyard number 3, the biggest courtyard, and then number 4 is right where we're standing.
Umbrella.
That's not a good sign. There's shelter. I'll try. If it gets worse, we'll hide in the shelter. There comes guys.
Dito na uli sila. Nag-change lang ng guard.